justified. Where people are occupied.
Journalists then started a campaign to take photos of themselves with one eye covered. Hello, my name is Stanley Heller. Welcome to The Struggle. We start in Times Square, New York City, with an angry demonstration and march after over 30 Palestinians were killed in the Gaza Strip.
We have people with us today from all over the world, people standing in solidarity with the Palestinian struggle because they know it is a just struggle, a struggle that has had the solidarity of other oppressed peoples and oppressed nations since 1948. Amar from New York, Boricua resistance!
Viva, viva Palestina!
Viva, viva Palestina! Gaza now!
New York City, you will see!
New York City, you will see!
Gaza will be free!
Gaza will be free!
New York City, you will learn!
New York City, you will learn!
Refugees will return!
Refugees will return!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
I'm 20 years old from Yemen, and as far as I can remember watching TV, I've seen the children in Gaza being bombed. Growing up, I've seen children my age and younger being bombed, and I know that I cannot stand silent. And there's always a way for us. If we can't be there physically, the least that we can do is raise awareness. So I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. I'm gonna get to the point. Organize at any capacity that you can. On your college campuses, there is only one solution, Intifada revolution.
There's only one solution, Intifada revolution!
New York City, you will see!
New York City, you will see!
Gaza will be free!
Gaza will be free!
New York City, you will learn!
New York City, you will learn!
Refugees will return!
Refugees will return!
Netanyahu, you will see!
Netanyahu, you will see!
Gaza will be free!
Gaza will be free!
Every single missile fired to murder the children of Gaza comes from the United States. It's paid for by our tax dollars. This war is Washington's war. The blood of 7-year-old Amir Akram, the blood of the Al-Mahous family, the blood of all those who have died and who are suffering in Gaza is on the hands of the White House, of Donald Trump, of Congress, of the Pentagon.
Then some 500 people, almost all of them young, marched down to 34th Street.
There is only one solution!
There is only one solution!
Intifada revolution!
Intifada revolution!
There is only one solution!
There is only one solution!
Intifada revolution!
Intifada revolution!
Resistance is justified!
Resistance is justified!
People are occupied!
Where people are occupied.
Resistance is justified!
Resistance is justified!
When people are occupied!
People are occupied!
It is right to rebel!
It is right to rebel.
Israel, go to hell!
Israel, go to hell!
It is right to rebel!
It is right to rebel!
Israel, go to hell!
Israel, go to hell.
It is right to rebel!
It is right to rebel.
Israel, go to hell!
Israel, go to hell.
It is right to rebel!
It is right to rebel.
Israel, go to hell!
Israel, go to hell.
Gaza, don't you cry!
Gaza, don't you cry.
Palestine will never die!
Palestine will never die!
Gaza, don't you cry!
Gaza, don't you cry!
Palestine will never die!
Palestine will never die! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea.
Before Israel's crime!
Not another nickel. Not another dime.
No more money for Israel's crime!
Not another nickel. Not another dime.
No more money for Israel's crimes. Not another nickel, not another dime. No more money for Israel's crimes. Not another nickel, not another dime. No more money for Israel's crimes. Not another nickel, not another dime. No more money for Israel's crimes. Not another nickel, not another dime. No more money for Israel's crimes. Not another dime. Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! Free Palestine! Long live Palestine! Intifada, Intifada! Long live Intifada!
The march ended in front of Macy's, just where the Thanksgiving parade will pass in a few days.
Palestine will be free!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
Palestine will be free!
After the march, a spontaneous debka. Muath Amarneh, a Palestinian photojournalist, was partially blinded when Israeli border police used live ammunition to break up a small demonstration in Hebron on November 14th. Photos taken at the scene show he was wearing a blue flak jacket prominently labeled press and wore a helmet. Amarneh lost an eye and has been in the hospital since. He was shot with a .22 caliber bullet, either deliberately or because soldiers were firing at youths who they claimed had thrown rocks. Stone throwers are often blinded, crippled, or killed by Israeli soldiers. Journalists then started a campaign to take photos of themselves with one eye covered in solidarity. The campaign spread. After these journalists on Palestine TV wore patches, the Israeli government shut down the station for 6 months. This is a tribute to the journalist from Syria. This campaign is similar to the solidarity shown to 3-year-old Yemeni Buthaina, whose eyes were bruised shut in a Saudi-U.S. bomb attack that killed her parents and all her brothers and sisters. We've mentioned this before on our program. What we didn't tell you was that she was later kidnapped along with her uncle and his family and brought to Saudi Arabia, where authorities tried to get her and the uncle to take some propaganda photos with the crown prince. Apparently they didn't display the proper attitude, and so the photographers abandoned the project. The Houthis put Buthaina on a list of people they wanted to get in a prisoner swap. Last December, after the Khashoggi murder, the Saudis returned Buthaina and her family, her uncle's family, to Yemen. The whole fantastic story is in an article on Middle East Eye, which we will post in our Yemen and Saudi archives. The Zionists egg on governments to clamp down on any kind of protests of Israeli war criminals or Israelis representing the settler government. All kinds of disruptions get branded as uncivil or anti-Semitic. So at Harvard, a lecture by the Israeli consul general, who wanted to speak about the glories of settlements, was met by this response: a silent walkout with signs being held by around 100 students. The signs said, settlements are a war crime. It got a lot of attention. The Israeli Consul General, Danny Dayan, showing a lot of class, called them a bunch of losers. We're almost surprised that he hadn't gotten those students charged as terrorists. The man on the right is the Israeli Prime Minister. May his name be blotted out. He was just indicted for bribery, fraud, and breach of trust. He's also guilty of war crimes, but that's not on any court's agenda yet. Yes, the people who will take his place are brutes too, but no one else has his talent for mixing fear, hate, and then impressing our Congress with his perfect English. He is not resigning. He claims he's being persecuted, and he evidently wants to stir up his followers for who knows what. Prediction: he will fail. In Iran, massive protests in scores of cities have met with enormous violence by the regime and then counter-violence from the people. What set off the nationwide protests was a 300% increase in the price of gasoline, announced suddenly on November 15th. That is a huge increase for the majority of Iranians who have already sunk to poverty levels because of the cost of Iran's military and political interventions in the region and its nuclear missile development program and the severe sanctions imposed by the United States. Hundreds of banks have been burned. The Rouhani government has shut down all internet for a week. I hope you heard the point in the video where the Iranian government was using machine gun fire against its citizens. Shocking. In 1 week, over 250 people have been killed. Some are saying this is all the fault of the United States sanctions. The sanctions are cruel and do play a part, but Iranians are fed up with their government and its refusal to respect human rights and the enormous sums that it spends on its foreign wars, as an Iranian journalist explains.
Hi everyone, my name is Masih Ali Nejad. I'm an Iranian journalist and activist. A lot of you are wondering what is going on in Iran right now. There have been 4 days of nationwide protests across Iran. More than 100 people have been killed. More than 1,000 people have been arrested. Internet has been shut down almost for the whole country. But the supreme leader of Iran, the main dictator, used the same internet to call protesters hooligans, thugs. Why did they shut down internet? Because they don't want you, the journalists, human rights activists, the rest of the world, to see human rights violation in Iran. They don't want you to see killings, beatings, and torture. What we, the people of Iran, need, first and last, which is very important for us, we want you, the rest of the world, free world, United Nations, European Unions, the government from France, Germany, Italy, from United States of America, we want you to make the government of Iran, the Islamic Republic officials accountable about these killings. The government banned Iranian people from accessing internet. We want you, Twitter, social media, Instagram, Facebook, to ban the supreme leader of Iran, to ban the officials until the people of Iran have the same freedom to access internet. Is that too much to ask? This is all we need. People of Iran are fed up with the Islamic Republic, but they don't have any voice.
A case against these Iranian environmentalists was dismissed, but then another government force asserted its authority and reinstated charges. They received long prison terms. A message of solidarity to Iranians from Syrians in Idlib, and from Rukban, Syria, where over 10,000 people sit in terrible conditions with only sporadic UN aid, while the U.S. at its base in nearby Tanf does nothing at all.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. احنا في مخيم الركبان نرجو من الصحافة والإعلان يزورونا في مخيم الركبان لسبب معاناتنا وجوعنا وعطشنا. نرجو من الأمم والمتحدة أن يحسوا فينا في المخيم الركبان وشكرا وجزاكم الله خير.
Lebanon, Syria, Iraq. A demonstration November 24th in Washington, D.C. in support of the Arab uprisings. In Bolivia, a far-right regime of terror has taken over. The woman who proclaimed herself leader of the country has been recognized by Trump's United States and Putin's Russia.
Ya comenzó la joda.
Keep up to date at rpm.world. The people are rising up worldwide. Just yesterday in Colombia, hundreds of thousands of people took to the streets in protests. Supposedly, there's been a peace agreement between the government and rebels. Yet 800 indigenous and popular leaders have been assassinated in Colombia in just the last 3 years. September worldwide was the hottest September in history. October was the second hottest October in history. In Australia, drought has caused record brush fires. For days, Sydney was covered in smoke and people were told to stay indoors rather than breathe air that's the equivalent of smoking 32 cigarettes. As viewers know, there's a major campaign to get the governor of Connecticut to stop building another fracked gas power plant in the eastern part of the state, a plant that would send 2 million tons of global warming gases into the air each year. Promoting Enduring Peace held a memed contest. First prize to the meme that shows the governor going with the plan to end carbon emissions, but getting interested in another gas power plant. Second prize to the meme of the governor pondering all the CO2 the plant would send out. And third prize to this meme that focuses on Ned Lamont's contradictions. And now some other memes on the subject. For more information, see peps.org or on Facebook, No More Dirty Power in Killingly. The next youth climate strike is Friday, November 29th, focusing on indigenous rights and consumerism. In Connecticut, it will take place from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the state capitol. A week after this, on the 6th of December, a walkout focusing on the world's deteriorating climates. From 350.org, a video.
Our fight against climate change is a battle over power. But not only the kind of power that runs our cars or keeps our buildings warm. We need to take back the power that the fossil fuel industry has over society. Fossil fuel companies are the wealthiest and most powerful corporations on the planet, and their core business model threatens all of us. For decades, they have corrupted our governments, ravaged our planet, and treated the atmosphere like an open sewer, while the impacts of climate change devastate the people who've done the least to cause the problem. We believe in a sustainable and prosperous future, which is socially just and economically fair. Our mission is to inspire, train, and mobilise people to bring power back to citizens and create a thriving global movement. To put the heat on the fossil fuel industry, drive our leaders to act, and create the climate solutions the world needs. We will confront the power of the fossil fuel industry, dismantling their social licence and stopping their projects on the ground. We will also continue to work locally with communities affected, supporting those responding to climate disasters and working to promote investment towards community-based sustainable initiatives and renewable energy projects. We will keep targeting and pressuring local and national governments to take action on reducing emissions. But we need everybody. No matter where you live, there are ways to plug in. Whether it's joining our campaigns online, organising for climate action in your community, or joining a mass mobilisation to move beyond fossil fuels and to a clean energy future. There's room for everyone in this growing movement. Together, we can create a new kind of power. Join us.
On Saturday, December 7th, the Dwight Hall Peace Initiative and Promoting Enduring Peace will sponsor a talk by Osama Sadiqui on the vile mistreatment of the Rohingya of Myanmar. Finally, a Palestinian singer at the Tree of Life event in Hartford, Connecticut.
Next song will be صوت المرأة, the voice of women, and I want to dedicate it to Rachel's Corey family that they are here with us. Because her voice is still with us, and the power of the voice of women, صوت المرأة ثورة. صوت المرأة is a revolution. Woman can lead a great revolution in her voice. And this song, I wrote these lyrics, was composed by Nassim Dakwar, and it explained the benefit, the power, what woman's voice can express.
صوت
صوت راسم قلب صوت ضامن حب صوت يعمل قرب يمحي طعم الحسرة صوت ثورة ثورة صوت ثورة ثورة صوت المرأة ثورة تهليلة حب وأمان أغاني وحكايا زمان.
That's our program for today. See you next week at this time. I'm Stanley Heller for The Struggle.